trying to get an interview with you, and they could see I was in such shock. And I said, can you please just get me to the plane without having to speak to them, because I haven't spoken to my sister yet, spoken to my parents. She's in shock. I can't speak to anyone before I speak to her. That's insane. So we got on, you know, those buggies that go through the airport with the beep, beep, beep. And we're going through the airport. This film crew chasing me. And all I wanted to do was see my gorgeous sister and hug her.
What was the first thing you said to Kylie when you saw her?
I don't even remember. It was just a blur, but it was more about just giving her a hug and supporting her. I mean, she was scared. And being there for my parents too, because at the time I just thought, however scary this is for all of us, I think it's got to be the hardest for the parents. It's got to be.
She had to have an operation 3 days later. That must have been a horrendous 3 days for your family.
In those 3 days, there is so much medical information to absorb, to work out what's the best treatment, who would be doing it, how it would happen, all of that. And that's anyone going through it. They're 3 very, very tough days.
What was good about this terrible situation was it did bring the pair of you closer together, didn't it?
I think you just go to another depth, I would call it, rather than closeness, a depth of... you find strength within yourself that you never thought you had, because you never needed it before.
Were there periods when you as a family feared she wouldn't make it?
No. Never thought of it. Couldn't. You don't.
You just refused to?
Refused. Can't.
What was it like the day when she got the all clear?
Well, there's the all clear, and then there's the all clear, as anyone who's been through cancer knows. You get the it's all clear now from the operation, it's all clear now from the chemo. You get the it's all clear gone, then you get your 6 months all clear, your 1 year all clear, and the big year, the proper one is the 5-year all clear. We're not there yet.
But it's looked good so far, hasn't it?
It looks incredible, and you know, she's just been so strong, and in my head, nothing's going to come back, because it's just not going to happen.
A couple of weeks ago, you got caught up in a right old firestorm.
The audience is like, it was terrible.
After Kylie's given the initial all clear, you get more good news when you are made a judge on a show called Australia's Got Talent. I mean, I have to say, I mean, don't take this the wrong way, but I've seen the Australian show, and they are, apart from you, a very odd-looking bunch. When you watch Britain's Got Talent, say, how do you think it compares the Australian show?
It's a completely different ball game, and for the fact that we don't have that history of kind of vaudeville and performing at the end of the pier, and the whole show's beauty is that it's just such a mixture of the good, the bad, the ugly, the mad and the wonderful. And
that's just the panel, look. It wasn't just Australia that was impressed by your performances as a judge, it was also Simon Cowell.
Danni might have made it as a judge on Australia's Got Talent, but becoming a success in Britain was going to be an altogether tougher ask.
You know, Danni really had to come into it and prove who she was and kind of prove her worth.
Right from her X Factor debut, her critics were out to get her.
Some people thought, why has she got the job? People always assume that she hasn't done as much as her sister, so there's that assumption that maybe her sister should be the judge.
And to make matters worse, not everyone on the show welcomed her with open arms either.
You can look at it as it was a desperate measure from an older woman who was not as attractive as the younger woman that's come in.
It's like being the new girl at school, isn't it? And then one of the big girls comes along and, you know, puts you in your place.
After that eventful series, Sharon decided to leave.
When Cheryl joined the show, suddenly the press all jumped on and said, oh, you know, Danni's going to hate it because, you know, Cheryl's younger and pretty. And Danni was like to me, I don't care who it is, as long as it's not Sharon.
But the arrival of Cheryl only seemed to add to the pressure on Danni, and everything came to a head during an on-screen bust-up with fellow judge Louis Walsh over a choice of song.
And Danni, you did nick their song, but it doesn't matter. They were fantastic.
No way! We work on a rota system. We get first pick a song every week.
They have wanted to rule the world from day one.
I don't complain.
Right, guys, let's not get into recrimination proceedings.
There was a fight, and it kind of spilled out on camera.
Next into the spotlight, the Overs again, and Danni. Who's up, Dan?
It's horrible when you see any of your friends cry, so you do want to run up and give them a hug and make sure they're okay.
I felt broken, to be quite honest. I hate seeing Danni upset for whatever reason. It wasn't just one thing. I think it was a build-up of everything, you know, throughout the series.